Bert Oliva's Mastermind Circle.
Today's Mastermind Circle, your center of power. I'm really excited for today because we have an amazing guest that's going to come in and share her life story, her successes. However, before we start, we got to go through for the members on the steps and what Mastermind is all about. First thing we're going to do is we're going to show you a video for all the new people that are here today, letting you know exactly what I do and who I am. I've been doing seminars at a professional level for over 21 years now, and been doing Mastermind Circle all over the world for the past several years, and decided now to go ahead and do it online. So it's a real nice and interesting group, and it's growing every week, and I'm really excited and I'm happy, and I'm actually happy that you're here. So anyways, let's go ahead and play the video, and then after the video, I'm going to give you the house rules and everything else that comes with it. You ready? Here we go.
Hello, my name is Bert Oliva, and I've been speaking at a professional level for over 20 years now. I am the founder of Humanology, the scientific study of human potential. I truly believe that everyone has greatness inside of them. The only person that holds them back is themselves.
Bert Oliva is an international orator. He has enchanted audiences all over the world, showing them the power of mind over matter.
Because you're conditioned that way, you just don't know it.
Bert has a dedicated social media following and an impressive online influence few possess, enabling him to communicate with audiences he has touched near and far. He has met some of the most influential and powerful people in the world. He has also coached highly successful business executives and politicians. So get ready to have an experience you won't soon forget.
Bang, bang!
Now, this is our mission statement. For those of you that are members, I ask you to, read it with me when I count to three. Are you guys ready? 1, 2, 3. To create a group of like-minded individuals that support and collaborate and promote each other, who are willing to share, give, and receive encouragement to grow together mentally, financially, and spiritually. The Mastermind Circle is about balance. And that's what it's all about. So you don't want to just grow mentally or financially or spiritually. You want to balance it out. And this is what our mission is. And again, we're really excited that you're a part of this and that you're here with us today. So let's get started. The person I'm bringing in today to do the interview with is someone that is really special to me. She's a real good friend of mine. And I'm not going to share her story. I want her to share her story. But she's the founder of Health and Wellness Network of Commerce. We're going to talk more about that, and what she's doing is incredible. And she's just going to give you the breakdown of how she's doing it and the changes she's created in her life. Also, she's an inspirational speaker, and she's more than that. Even though that, she won't say it, she's an amazing woman. And that's why I wanted to bring her to you guys, because I really love seeing women that have taken their life and their business to that next level, because for a while this used to be a man's world, and it's no longer a man's world. So bringing someone like Orly to this interview is really exciting. And the other thing, she's a true inspiration, and I think I just covered that a little bit because you can see it in the way that I'm talking to you right now. I mean, this is really an important person in my life. So here we go. Let me go ahead and give you her bio for a little bit. Here goes. Here's her bio.
Orly Amor is best known as the ultimate paradigm shifter. She is an internationally known speaker, author, and coach to corporate leaders. Orly is also the founder of the Health and Wellness Network of Commerce. She holds an MBA, a law degree, and is also a certified behavior analyst. Her secret to success? Being authentic, never giving up on her dreams, and when on the road to success, always making sure to help others along the way by paying it forward. So let's welcome Orly Amor.
Hi, Bert.
How you doing, Orly?
I'm good. It's so good to see
talking
you.
To us from your kitchen, I see.
Yes. Yes, it's 8 o'clock at night. I do come home sometimes,
I thought you didn't have a house. I thought you just did everything on the road, and you were here about a week ago.
I know. I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to you, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, that's because you were busy. So, Orly, tell us a little bit about you. I want to know everything. Tell us who you are. Tell us about you.
I don't know where you want me to start, Bert, to tell you the truth,
In the
but
beginning,
are we talking about my personal story?
everything. I want to know everything.
Everything.
We got 45 minutes. I want to know the difference between our interviews and most interviews is that a lot of the speakers, a lot of the people will share their powerful stories that they share on stage. However, I don't just want to go there. That's fair that you share some of that because those are great stories, but I also want to get into the nitty gritty. I really want to show people that we're all the same. We're all human beings. We all
Right.
have, the same tools. It's just that one turning point in our life when we made a conscious decision to create a change in our life. So,
Mm-hmm.
tell us where it all started. Tell us where you were into management. Tell us that.
When I was in property management, yeah, well, if you, I'll put it in a nutshell, and I think people sometimes want to know where the Orly Amor name comes from, and so on. And it's a 30-second spiel, basically. I call it the 30-second spiel. Orly means you are my light in Hebrew, and Amor, of course, means love, and you know that in Spanish. I was born in Israel. My father's Moroccan, my mother's Egyptian. I'm a mutt, basically. I grew up in Montreal, Canada, and I lived in Florida. That's where we met, and now I live in New York. Really happy about that. I speak 7 languages. I've been to 26 countries in 18 states. And my journey didn't start so happy. I was a beaten up child. I was molested. I was raped. I had a very abusive relationship with my first husband. And I know I'm walking through it really quickly, but that's really just to get to the next level because I'm no longer a victim. And I was able to shift my life around from being a victim to a victor. And it took work.
When did that happen? I mean, did it happen at an early age, or did it happen later on in life?
It happened later on in life. I gained a morbid amount of weight. I was 428 pounds at my heaviest. I'm very glad to say that I lost 217 pounds so far, but it was a journey that I had to be awakened to at one point or another after following Tony Robbins and all the big guys and you for quite a while. And meeting you, I remember the first time I met you actually in person. I think I was starstruck. I was like, oh my God, it's Bert Oliva, and now we're friends, so it's great. It was a journey, and it was a wake-up call to understand that we need help, that we're not alone, like you said earlier, that we need to understand that. We need to admit to it. I think it's more important to admit we need help, we need mentors, we need coaches, we need all that. It's important in our life, for every level of our life, not just, sometimes people think, well, I don't really need a coach and my business is doing well. Well, sometimes we are going through struggles and we don't want to share that with our friends or with our family or with anybody. We don't want to show our vulnerability. So what a better thing than to hire a coach because they're unbiased and they're just for us. It's so personal, it's private. I like that.
You always thought about it that way? You always look for someone to mentor you and coach you through the process?
Yeah, I still have mentors and coaches. I don't think we stop learning. If you stop, I think that if you stop learning, you start dying. So you need to continue learning. And there's always somebody that has another view of what you're going through or another solution or another thing to teach you. I believe that there is something to learn every day.
So where was that turning point where you said, you know what, I'm not going to be a victim. I'm going to create something different. And before you became a speaker, let's go back a little further. Where was that turning point? Where was it you said, I'm going to change my life?
There were only 2 people that knew my personal story in Florida. And one of them told me that I should come and speak at a women's shelter. And I was in property management, as you know. I was in property management for 25 years. I wrote a couple of books on the subject matter. I was speaking on the subject matter. I had a great company in Florida, doing just great. But I never really spoke motivation-wise or thought about telling my story because it was so private. And obviously I was eating my, my emotions. That's how I got so big. And at one point, my girlfriend said, you got to speak at this shelter. And I said, no, why? Why should I speak at the shelter? She's like, well, you need to show women how you're doing well and that everything that happened to you is behind you. And you go to networking events and everybody just loves being around you. How do you do it? And I said, oh, I never even noticed that. That's the thing. I never noticed that people approach me and like to hug me. Although I love the hugs, just in general note. And one of the things that happened, she nagged me for about 3 weeks. I went to speak at this shelter, and obviously not one dry eye in the place. Backwards, just for 1 second, is that I hired a coach to teach me how to speak for my first speech. I had to. And so I go there, and not one dry eye in the place. But afterwards is really was the shifting point, because people came to me and hugged me and told me that they have hope now, and everything is going to be great, and they're just believing that. And that was a real good thing. And then one lady, though, was really crying, like if somebody died, I was like that kind of a cry. And I felt so bad for this lady. I said, I'm so sorry. I hope don't worry, everything's going to be okay. She said, no, you don't understand. And I said, no, I do. Please calm down. Everything's going to be okay. And she basically just yelled at me after a few times, me saying it's going to be okay. And it's not always not easy to just say it, easy to say, not to do kind of a thing. She yelled at me, no, you don't understand. And I was really taken aback. It really shocked me. I have goosebumps telling you this story. And she said, listen, this morning I was going to kill myself, and here's how I was going to do it. And I just listened to you speak, and I want to live. I want you to show me how. I'm open to that. And look at me, I'm getting all teary-eyed. I'm sorry. But every time I tell this story, I get emotional, because it was really a turning point. It didn't dawn on me. It was like, wow. And then I said, wow, I just saved a life. I mean, that's what really happened. So I was really blown away by that, and knew that there was something else that I needed to be doing in this lifetime, that property management was not going to be the thankful job I was looking for. It's not thankful.
Yeah, but let's go back a little bit. Property management, you were not just a property management person. You were on top of your game. So you've always excelled in everything you've done. So tell us a little bit about where you were at when you made this choice, because where you were at your young age, you had a career already. You were set.
Yes, I made a lot of money in a men's world where people didn't believe that a woman can do that. I was also the youngest woman in Canada to receive the Businesswoman of the Year award in 1998 in a men's world, completely in property management. And when I moved to Florida, people said, well, you don't know the laws here. You're not going to make it here. And 8 months later, I think I was already the local expert on Channel 10 on WPLG, and I had 2 books and in the subject matter. I was speaking. It was crazy how all of it just turned around, because I think that my perseverance and my persistence to show people that I could do it was really my claim to fame, if you will. And until today, people still call me and want to consult with me on property management, because I feel like, they see the value of my knowledge. And not only, sorry.
Go ahead. And not only what?
Not only in the technical part of property management, but more on the strategic planning in property management. It's so important.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Most people at that level would say, you know what, I have a career. If I do this for another 20 years, I can retire. And you were in a real good position. I mean, I don't want to get into the details, but you were in a real good position. And then you decided, you know what, I'm going to create a shift right now. And basically, you had to start all over again.
All over.
Okay. And then you started doing what? Going out and doing speeches after your first one? What happened?
I started, I continued learning, because the public speaking was not something that I thought I was good at, but I thought I was good at. I was very cocky. And then I hired a mentor, and he looked at my video, and the first thing he said, it was like, oh my God, that's horrible, Orly, And I'm thinking, oh, what was wrong with that? And he asked me to join Toastmasters, and that was great for the beginning of it. I'm still giving back to Toastmasters, because I think it's a great organization for public speaking, but I just saw how much I had to learn. And when you shift in your life and you're starting over, you got to know what you're getting into and study it. And I think that that's what I did, is first study speakers like yourself, like Victor, like Omar Periu, like all your friends, Les Brown. They were all people that I followed for a long time. And, my property management was basically paying my bills, but I knew that that's not what I wanted to be doing. But I had to study. And
that was paying your bills, but it wasn't your passion.
Not anymore.
Right.
It was my passion when I first learned it, because I used to be a bulldozer, you know, in the property management world. And that's what they called me, the hurricane, the tornado. In Montreal, it was a tornado. In Florida, it was the hurricane. I guess it was appropriate. That's what it was. But because I immersed myself into it. So passion has a big is a big component to anything you're doing, because otherwise you won't ever do it right, or ever do it to its full capacity and actually know the benefits of it. So
is that what you put into everything now, right? That's what you're doing.
That's what I'm doing.
And then you evolved. And then from there, did you go right into the cruise business? I mean, tell us a little bit about that.
Oh gosh. Well, first I moved to New York also unexpectedly. Yeah, I did not know that this was going to happen to me. I started being a coach and a public speaker in the motivation world, in the more, you know, business strategies and stuff like that. And somebody said, well, you need to come to New York. And I said, why New York? And they said, well, in Florida, everybody knows you in property management. Maybe shifting into a new career, they won't be as receptive. And they were right, because everybody knew who I was in property management in Florida, but nobody knew me here in New York. So it was a good move. Sorry.
How long did it take you? I mean, you just created a move. You had to start from scratch. How long did it take before people get to know you? I mean, what were some of the steps that you did to get known in the area?
I think networking was best first. Networking is very important. You just need to meet new people. People who don't know you are usually the ones who are more receptive to whoever you are now. Like if you decide one morning that you want to become a coach, and then you become certified or learn how to coach and get your business cards, then you need to start networking. It's building your relationships that is very important, and never lose all the relationships you did have, because some of them were very strong and will be also a very good support system. So I had to not learn again how to network, but start over in a new city that is actually the most difficult city to get into, which is New York. New York is not the rest of the world. It is very, you know, that's why the song says, if I can make it here, there, I can make it anywhere. It's so true. And for me, it was networking first to build relationships. I had to do many things for free, like speak for free and coach for free, but that's just to test my own material and see the receptiveness of people. And again, that's all a part of the education I had to have, of learning what works, what didn't work, and who is willing to pay and how much are they willing to pay for it. And that's how I learned, by giving it for free, by doing mini seminars, workshops, all kinds of stuff that I had to pay for more than I had to be paid for.
Yeah, that's good to say, because a lot of people that are getting into this industry, they think, well, they do one event, people celebrate their event, that they just did such a great job. They're like, okay, then this is what I'm going to do. It's not that easy. You reap what you sow. You got to put in the time. You got to go ahead and polish yourself. To this day, I go to an event and I sit there and watch the speakers ahead. Before I speak, I get there early. I set up. I do rehearsals. People are like, don't you know your presentation? I'm saying, yeah. I remember Zig Ziglar once told me, he says, Bert, the day you lose your nerves is the day you need to get off a stage. So I still get that butterfly. Why? Because what happens is, what he meant was, once you lose your nerves, you have to get off stage, because you're going to look arrogant. You're going to come out, and I don't. I come out real. Why? Because I never forget where I came from. And there's always, like you were saying, you constantly always have to learn. You got to build yourself all the time. So then you decided, I want to get to the point of, where we're at today. I mean, you went and did that for a while. For how long did you do that? Network and go out there and...
Well, I had to do it parallel to my other business. And that's the fun part of it, is that I had the other business. And I came to New York and I started relationships. And then a few months later, after I started coming to New York, my employees in my office in Florida stole $84,000 out of my bank account and everything that was in the office. So I had to really start from scratch. Now you're talking about a hit in the stomach and a hit to the heart and a hit to the head where you don't see it coming. And I believe that just with the law of attraction, or the universe, if whatever you believe in, God nudges you, the universe nudges you when you're not living your purpose.
Right.
And if you don't listen to that, it'll punch you. And if you don't listen to that, it'll knock you down. And I felt that that's what happened, that I was knocked down.
So why not give up right there?
It would have been easy. I had to go through a mourning period, and I encourage people to do that, whether they're breaking off a relationship, leaving a job, losing anything. It's hard on the mind, on the spirit. But what I tell people is, you gotta live that mourning, cry it out, yell it out, get therapy, whatever you need to do, just get out of it. Whatever you need to do to get out, it would behoove you to do that, because you cannot just move on. You need to process it so that you can forgive yourself. There's the 7 pillars of, forgiveness, anger, resentment, all that stuff that you have to go through. And once you're done, you're done. And I gave myself that time. It took me a while. I was fortunate enough. My mom paid for me to go to Israel for 4 weeks, so that I can cleanse my thoughts and my negativity and just be with the ocean, with family. You want to be around things that are lifting you up, and your family is usually a good space, or friends. Sometimes friends are more than family. So take that. So yeah, I did not give up. I came back to my senses. That's why I tell people, I came back to my senses. I knew that I had a bigger purpose, and if the universe knocked me down, is because I didn't listen. So that's the second thing, is to be truthful to yourself. Be honest with yourself. You don't have to be honest with other people if you don't want to. You can lie to everybody else. You can't lie to yourself. So that's one of the things that I realized. And then I just started continuing. I continued being a coach. I continued, and all that, nobody knew what happened. All my clients, many of my friends, nobody knew what had happened to me. It was so seamless that my act was really good. And I'm thankful for that, because not everybody needs to know either. You got to know who your real friends are and your real family and all that good stuff. And then
it's like you had a rebirth type of thing. And I talked about that today in my motivational moments. We talked about, people have a cycle in life. They live, they're born, they live, and then they die. Well, I've also heard that you can born, live, and have rebirth. So
that's
it's like
right.
all over again. So you had your rebirth, you came back, and you were ready.
I was ready. I was so ready that the universe even gave me the man of my dreams. It was so awesome. I met him 2 months after that whole ordeal. So, and he met me basically kind of broke. and kind of, a little lost, but then he realized that I was just a good person, I guess. I don't know. He's still with me. One of the things that I learned through the process is that I need to just get back on my feet and do the right thing. And now I can actually teach the law of attraction. At that point, that's what I realized, because I lived it. I lived what you can call into your life is also what you don't want. And that's really what I lived. And then I lived also how I called all the good stuff into my life. And in September of 2011, I took a walk for women against violence, domestic violence. And I said to one of my clients, because we all went together, my clients, myself, it was great. So we were all walking. It was a 5K walk. And I said to her, I said, wouldn't it be great if we got 100 people of our friends to go on a cruise and call it the Law of Attraction Cruise? And she's like, yeah, that would be a good idea, And all of a sudden, I'm planning this thing. A year later, guess what, Bert? You were on it.
You
were on the Law of Attraction Cruise. And
we hadn't spoken to each other for several years.
Yeah.
Contacted me, and because you built that strong relationship with us, my wife, myself, my team, I was like, yeah, I'll be there. And you're like, well, I can't pay you. I'm like, you know what, Orly, you're awesome, and I see what you're doing, and you're following your purpose. I'm going to be there. And that day that we were there, that's when I said, you know what, you can count me in until all your cruises, because I knew that it was going to grow. I knew it was going to go to the next level, and I knew what you were doing was so real, which is why, I like following people who are like that. One time you saw me as a celebrity, but at another time I was following you, because I love to help those people that are ready to help, to help themselves to get to that next level. So tell us about that cruise.
Well, so we went on that cruise. We didn't have like a great attendance, but we had great bonding that was amongst the guests and the speakers. And we had many challenges on that one. I mean, God help us, we had major challenges, and we made it through. Here we are, and we just went on a cruise back in October 2015, and it was awesome.
It was awesome.
It was awesome, and the bonding, the friendships,
Actually, the bonding this time was even more than the last time.
Oh, absolutely, and it just grew. Now, here is the big one for me is that the next cruise is next September 2016. And 100% of the speakers from the last cruise are coming back, and more are adding themselves to our whole idea and vision and mission to changing people's lives. I think that is, for me, right now, like I'm in La La Land. I'm
going to promote your stuff a little bit because I speak all over the place. And I speak with a lot of speakers. And a lot of speakers are not, they don't connect with each other. They look at each other as competition. Right. I'm still connected to like four or five of the speakers from the cruise. We still communicate, and that's awesome because those are real bonds, and that's how we started. So you end up being friends long term. You never know where they're going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Mm-hmm. However, that's what I loved about the cruise is that you meet real people, you connect with them, you see them off the stage, and there's a bond, a special type of bond. And like I said, I've spoken all over the world. And I've never had such a strong bond with the speakers like I've had in a cruise.
That's awesome. That, that warms my heart to hear that, because that's really what I wanted.
The truth is, it all comes from you, though. And I'm not just saying that. It's true because you're the founder. You're the creator. Your energy is the one that's being spread out. So what you wanted to do, the vision you had a couple years back, that's what you're seeing in fruition. That's law of attraction. You're attracting that because you're giving that energy out.
Yeah.
So tell us this cruise. Okay, so you decided to do the cruise. Now it's become a series because basically you're going to continue doing cruises.
Right.
But you do something else too, which is what I really want to talk about tonight.
The Health and Wellness Network of Commerce.
Tell us about that.
So the Health and Wellness Network of Commerce started out of frustration. I told you I'm a networker. I'm a connector. I remember in Florida they used to call me the Millionaire Connector. But one of the things that I did here is do the same thing, connect people all the time. And I used to go to Chamber of Commerce events and saw the segregation between health and wellness professionals and corporate professionals who can service those health and wellness people. But before that, I was a part of another organization, which shall be nameless right now because it's not important. But I was hit bad by some of their practices of ethic and integrity, and I separated myself from that because that's not who I am. And then I had the idea of health and wellness, maybe Chamber of Commerce, but then I didn't like the concept of chamber because it's very political and the segregation happens. So what I did was I decided to go after the business. There's a great organization called BNI, Business Network International, and then there's Chambers of Commerce. Well, Network Commerce, Health and Wellness Network of Commerce was born. And I invited a few people that I already was introducing through emails to an event in April of 2015. And I told them what I wanted to do. This is what I want to do. I want to be the bridge between health and wellness professionals and corporate professionals. And people didn't really understand what I meant. So I gave an example of a dentist and an accountant. They both see people. Right. They both have a lot of clients and they service each other, but they never refer to each other. And that seemed very odd to me because the CPA knows that people spend money on dentists and insurance and the braces for the little Johnny, and yet they don't say, hey, would you like to meet my dentist? And the dentist listens to everybody complaining about their taxes during tax season. Oh, I got to do my taxes. I have to pay taxes, but never says, hey, would you like to meet my accountant? Maybe he can help you. And that's where I wanted it to be more organic and help them do that. And after the meeting, somebody said, well, are you bringing that to Brooklyn? And I look at them with 4 eyes. I didn't know exactly what they meant. And one said, well, can I bring it to Philadelphia? And I'm who even thought that? I was thinking Manhattan, just one little group of people meeting once a month. And so, wow, I was blown away by the responses. So I went back to the drawing board, created a contract, creating a win-win-win situation for associated presidents. That's what we call people who lead a chapter, and created a win-win-win where everybody gets something out of it. It's not all about Orly. It's about changing people's lives, connecting with people. And that's what happened. In 1 month, we were, I think, in 4 countries and in 6 states, and I freaked out. I really freaked out because, be careful what you wish for. They mean it. That's true. And then you just have to be ready. And that's why I like Sir Richard Bronson. He has a quote that says, when an opportunity knocks, just say yes, figure it out later. And it's true. I had to figure it out later. I said yes. I didn't know exactly how I was going to do it. So another thing to learn from it is don't think about the how. Just give yourself all the opportunity you can to make something happen, and stick to it, though. You got to stick to it. There's going to be hard times. You got to know when those are going to happen and how they're going to happen. And you got to tell yourself constantly. I got to tell myself every single day, many times a day, it's for the bigger picture. It's for the bigger picture. Because even I didn't know.
This started in April of 2015?
Correct.
Okay, so we're not even in April yet.
No.
And where's the organization? How is it now?
The organization right now is in 6 countries and 9 states. And it has over 28 chapters. And we have, I think, 4 countries on queue and many more chapters around the country on queue.
How does that make you feel?
The truth of the matter is it's a little scary, and because I want to be able to service, but at the same time, it makes me very proud and very excited about the bigger picture that I keep on telling myself. It's about the bigger picture. Well, I want to see that. I can't wait to see that. That's the anticipation of it is killing me. I'm not a patient person. So
what's the biggest challenge that you face every day in this business that you're doing?
There are 2 challenges that I face every day, and that every day it's about the resources. Am I going to have the resources to every day to go on? Because in every endeavor and every project, there's a level of sacrifice, and that sacrifice sometimes it's a detrimental thing for your thing to succeed or fail. And if you don't push through it and not let yourself be put down by it, then that's going to make you successful. That's what I feel that's going to help me. So my challenge is resources. And the second one is trust, because I had to go through so many, what I call the elevators, of the influx of very down, very up, where I just wanted to get to an even keel, where I know there's ups and downs, I can handle them, but now it's trusting other people to come on board and having that vision and that mission and pushing forward and not being blindsided. So those are the 2 challenges I have to live with every day.
Which it comes from when you first started, your first challenge, being able to trust.
Agree. Yeah.
So that's something you're still working on. What are the biggest lessons that people learn from you?
I think one of them is networking. Though I tell people constantly that your network is your net worth.
That's right.
Because if you think about it, Bert, we started this back in April, as you said, and all this growth is only word of mouth. We haven't started marketing yet. Only people I know that know people. It has nothing. We have not promoted anything.
Which is the best form of advertising is word of mouth.
Correct, but if you know how to use it and you build those relationships and you just don't go and shove business cards in people's hands, you gotta build those relationships, remembering somebody's name and building and coming from a place of servitude and helping them, then you'll get it back tenfold. You don't have to worry about it.
Well, Now you're going through all this stuff. You've had all these challenges in your life, so you must wake up motivated every day, right?
Actually, Bert, I wake up every morning extremely happy. I know I spoke about my challenges in the past in my journey, but I was left for dead twice. So for me, every morning is like, oh my God, I'm on planet Earth. It's great. Every day above ground is a good day. And that's something that I live by, because it is. It is. There's many challenges you can go through, but as long as you're here, you can still change things. You can wake up every morning and change your life. That's what I also like to share with people.
So tell us 2 things you want to share with people right now. 2 things that has helped you, and not like motivational rah, but real stuff from the heart that you know that if people would do more of, their life would be better.
Be grateful. Be grateful for everything you have. Be grateful. Look, I'm getting emotional. I don't know why. But be grateful. Be grateful for breathing freely and being able to walk. Things that are very simple, because we take those for granted too many times. We also take people around us for granted. And don't do that. Be grateful for the people around you. They all have a purpose. Don't discard people because you'll never know when they're going to be around for you and what they're here to do, because they're here to teach you something. Anything, and every person counts. I don't care if it's the homeless guy on the street just reminding you how blessed you are, or from that person to the person that that is super successful that just wants to have a cup of coffee with you. Don't take any of them for granted. I call them angels. God is sending them our way so that we have a lesson to learn. So that was the first thing. Be grateful. The second, sorry?
I love it. It's awesome. It's great.
And the second,
I felt it over here. I mean, a little bit more, you would have had me crying.
I'm telling you, I have tears in my eyes. I can't tell you how grateful I am.
People don't realize those things, and it took me years to realize that. And I am grateful for every moment of my day, every person that comes across in my life, every person I meet, I'm grateful. So what you're saying is so true, and it sounds like, cliche. No, it's real.
No, and sometimes it is challenging to feel grateful. You go through things in life that make you question, how can I be grateful, But think about, if you went to have a bad piece of pizza, do you really stop eating pizza? No, you just switch places, and you still eat pizza. Well, I encourage it. I don't encourage it, but whatever. And the second thing is watch what you say to yourself, because we are very hard on ourselves. And that I like to, one of the 12 statements that I teach in my book and so on, is one of the things is shoulda, coulda, woulda. And I put them together because I ask people, have you ever hit yourself over the head with a brick or something really heavy, like a bowling ball? And they say no. And I'm like, I'm glad you didn't, because your head would be like cracked open, you'll be dead. But those are the things we do to ourselves. We hit ourselves with those words in our heart, and they're so painful that we don't realize it. They create anchors in our brain, and we don't realize it. They're very subtle. So those little things are very, very important to stop doing. Just stop doing it. Talk to yourself in a nice way. Talk yourself into like you would talk to your best friend. What kind of advice would you give them if they're going through what you're going through? Be your best friend.
And how do you do something like that?
Well, I put myself in a position of my best friend, and I asked myself, if that person was going through what I'm going through, missing resources or family. I don't have any family in the United States. Well, I have you, Bert, but I have no family in the United States, right? You and Alexa, my twin. But one of the things that are important is how would I speak to that person? So one of the things we usually say to our friends, don't worry, everything's going to be okay. Well, why don't we say that to ourselves? Everything's going to be okay. And you know what? Everything does turn out okay. We're still here regardless of all the challenges. And if people just think about one of the challenges they've been through in the past, and they're here today listening to this webinar, well, hey, you made it. You're here. Everything's cool. You have a chance now to just think about it that way and move forward and say to yourself, well, you know what? I need to talk to myself better.
That's a great way of looking at it. You're absolutely right. Once you go back and you look at, like they always say, one day we're going to laugh about this. Well, I wish it was that day today.
Right. Well, one of the ways to do that is to have an affirmation. And my affirmation, my go-to affirmation is everything always works out for me.
That's great.
Everything always works out for me. So I need to remind myself that.
Okay, one more question, and then we
Sure.
go into other questions. What motivates you? What motivates Orly Amor?
You know, when I told you I'm a connector, so I'm not just a connector on business level, or, you know, sometimes just somebody needs help to find a job. I'll give you an example. And when I help that person find a job, or I help that person with a resume, or I help anybody that I help with anything, just smiling at someone, that motivates me because they change. They automatically change. I know people who are miserable, and every time I said good morning, they actually said good morning back. And that,
Especially in New York.
that's in New York. And it's in New York. Yes, in New York. I know. It's amazing. And another thing is that really
New York is fast paced. They don't have time to say good morning. They got to go.
Right. And, you know, like my husband always says, honey, there's, you know, crazy people on the train. Don't talk to people on the train. They're crazy. And I meet the most amazing people on the train. You would not believe. I met a colonel in the army. I met amazing people. And my passion is really people in general. So what motivates me is the end result. And if I know that I'm going to help one person in a whole day, if I know that I inspired somebody in one day, then that's what motivates me every day, because my goal, my personal goal, is to impact or touch the lives of 200 million people worldwide within the next 10 to 20 years. That's my personal goal.
You're going to do it.
Yeah, with the internet and everything, I'm sure I'm going to get there somehow, some way. There will be a number. And whatever that number is, I'm okay with it.
That's awesome. Well, I'm going to ask you one more question, even though I said this was your last question.
Yeah.
But before I ask that question, I want everyone to know that we're about to wrap up. So submit your questions now. So as soon as I ask my last question, and then we're going to open up to the questions, and make sure that you put live if you're going to come out live on the video. And, you know, I just asked that if you're going to come out live, make sure you're dressed well and appropriate. But we're about to wrap up. So get your questions ready. Start submitting it now. Raise your hands. And my last question to you is, what's the biggest mistake you've made, and how did you fix it?
That's a great question. Although I don't know if they are mistakes, I need 2 seconds to actually group my thoughts with that one. The biggest mistake I made. I feel that my mistake was trusting 2 times. Once in my personal life, once in my business life, and I trusted with money, and I was liquidated twice. So I learned from that there are certain things that I need to address when I do business and when I am in personal life, like with what that has to do with money. And it's just, you know, it's basically checking the T, you know, what do you call it? Crossing the T's, dotting the I's. Yeah. And even from a law degree background, to make sure that everything is in writing. And actually, I was recognized for that after a while by a municipal judge in a courtroom, where the person that was being the defendant was saying, she told me, and the judge said, well, did she put it in writing? And he said, no, but she told me. And he said, sir, I've known Miss Amor for a very long time. She does everything in writing. And that was a validation for me that that's exactly what I needed to do to fix things, is to make sure I put everything in writing.
Great. All right, so are we ready for the questions? Well, guess what? We have a special surprise for you. Felicia is going to be your first question.
Hey, Felicia. That's so cool.
Hi, Timmy was just hanging around too, saying, oh, I'm loving this. So he enjoyed the presentation. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to pop in to say, Orly, you just represent. Thank you, from another female who has had somewhat of the same journey, if not worse, for being with us and empowering us and teaching us and giving and understanding and smiling and looking great through it all. I mean, there's so many of us that people don't realize or believe what we've gone through because we don't look like it, right? We don't look like we've been through anything. Life's been cruel. It's not always easy, but we're so real about it. And that's what makes people go to the light. They're drawn to you because you're real. And I can't thank you enough. And we love you guys. Bert.
Felicia, I gotta say something again. I met Felicia in that cruise, the cruise that you guys need to attend if you're watching this webinar.
That's right.
And I don't make any money off of this. I'm just telling you, it was a great cruise. Felicia saved my life. I had an asthma attack. Because of the stuff that she does, aromatherapy, it helped me actually go through the entire cruise. It was awesome. So I mean, these are the important people that you, my friend Orly, are putting together.
Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
And I will be in New York on Sunday. I'm actually heading to the New York Institute of Aromatherapy in a mastery life planning class for healing. And I was selected, very elite, very prestigious, 9-month track up to New York, one Sunday of the month for 9 months. Rebirth. That's the name of the program. It's Rebirth. So
Awesome.
get on for everything that you said tonight. I love you with all my heart, and you've made a difference in my house, not just in my life, but in my world. So
Aww.
I'm just looking forward to doing some great things.
All right. Thank you, Felicia.
Yep. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
You know, actually, Felicia is going to be running the Health and Wellness Network of Commerce chapter in Virginia.
That's awesome. Well, here I have one of my mentees, Belinda Roldan.
Hi.
Belinda?
Hello, Orly.
Hi.
I just want you to know that your story is extremely inspiring, extremely close to home for me. And, you know, being a founder and an innovator and a networker and everything that you've accomplished, at what point in your life was that rebirth? And then how long do you think from that rebirth to where you are now is? Can you give me a milestone?
Okay, so when I was 35 years old, and I know I'm gonna be 49 in April, everybody. So I know when I say 25 years in property management, everybody looks at me like if I have two heads. But thank you for your question, Belinda. One of the things that one of your questions is when. So when I was 35 years old, I was serial dating online. And I came home one night after work. I was exhausted, and the first thing I did was go to McDonald's, get 2 Big Macs, 1 fry, and one Diet Coke, and a large Diet Coke, by the way, and 2 apple pies. And I went home, and it's 11:30 now, and I'm eating this in front of the television and just falling asleep. And the next morning I woke up extremely groggy, extremely tired, and obviously very overweight. And I said to myself, and because I was dating all the time and getting rejected, I decided that was going to stop, because just that rejection is really not about me, and I should not feel this way about anything. And I just decided that my competitive side will have to come out, and will have to say stop and start doing things for myself that are going to change that around. So no longer will I let anybody win. Just that was a mindset that I had to choose to be, as not let anybody win. Start doing things differently. I believe your second question is, what did I do? I'm not sure of the second part of it. Belinda?
But the other thing I want to say is Belinda's thinking about going to the cruise also.
Awesome.
Excited. She heard about it. We're bringing her back. There she is.
Oh, Belinda. So you said at what point? Did I answer that question?
Yes, you did, and you did it very well. Thank you so much. And the second part of my question was, you know, when we hit that turning point, that pivotal point in our life, and I don't think I'm just speaking for myself as a female. I think I'm speaking for a lot of females that we go through this. That rebirth that you went through when you said, you know what, I want to help people. this is what I want to do. This is my passion. So when you changed over from property management to helping people, how long between that and where you began your networking and where you are sitting now of being the innovator of all of this? How many years are you talking?
I'm talking months. It happened basically overnight, as far as starting the Global Mentoring Center for Coaching and Certifying Coaches. That happened in August of 2010. In November of 2010, I was already coming to New York. In December of 2010, I lost my dad. In January, I came back to New York. February is when those people stole all that money and got me broke overnight. And by end of April, I met my husband, and by end of summer, I was planning the cruise. So it was months. It was, when I think about it, maybe a year altogether, but I went through the biggest dip and the biggest high within the same year.
Thank you so much, Orly. And I would sincerely look forward to joining you guys on the cruise.
Oh, we'd love to have you. It would be awesome. And it's going to be great.
I would love to. I've been trying to connect with Felicia, and connecting with you and hearing your story. It's been wonderful.
I'm so glad you were here.
This is what Mastermind is all about. It's about really connecting with one another and really getting to know one another. And Felicia's a member, and Joyce is a member, and they came from the cruise. And now Belinda is connecting with Joyce and Felicia, and that's what it's all about.
That's beautiful.
They're going to learn from each other. They're going to grow and support each other.
Of course. That's what it's about.
So thank you, Belinda. We have 2 more questions. Here we have Fritz.
How you doing? You mentioned the big picture. What is the big picture to you? I mean, you said that whenever you face a challenge, you keep telling yourself the big picture, the big picture. What is the big picture to you? I mean, what is it that
I set the bar very high for myself. 200 million people. 200 million people worldwide within the next 10 to 20 years.
Okay.
So that's my big picture. I hope that yeah.
You didn't put a cap to it, right?
No, it's 200 million people.
200 million.
So she has a lot to go right now, but she's on her way there.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Fritz.
Very, very good. Very good.
He's also from New York, by the way.
Oh, awesome.
And the last question, here we go. Serge Mesa.
Orly, I've had the pleasure and the honor of getting to meet with you and talk to you. And I tell you honestly that your stock has gone up through the roof exponentially after knowing details about you, that you have now gotten an even better and warmer spot in my heart than you had before.
Oh, wow.
Really, honestly, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I don't want to take up any more time, but I do have a question for you. You've reached a lot of success, and you always give, and you've helped me, and you helped a lot of people. When do you feel that you've given out so much that you're almost like being used? Does that make sense?
Yes, I know what you're talking about, but I never feel that way. I believe in the law of return, and I believe that whatever I give is going to be returned. I don't think that there's a limit, because some people can't really afford me, and I know that. And so what do? I want to help them anyway, because you're there for a reason. And we talked about that too. People come into your life for a reason, a season, or life, but you gotta just remember that you're here for a purpose, and live your purpose first, so that everything else just works around you. You'll make the money, you'll have the friendships, you'll have work, you'll have clients, but I don't think you ever give too much of anything, because it's you and your limitations. So I only have so much time, and those who have the privilege to talk to me for 5 minutes or 5 hours, that's what it is. It is what it is. I don't.
Well, I feel privileged you spent the time with me and answered my question.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you so much, Orly. Have a great one.
You too. Thanks, Serge.
Well, guys, let me go ahead and give you her information. And please contact her, find out more about the cruise. There's so much that was said today. And I know a lot of your stories. However, because I'm looking at you through a camera and seeing that you captured more of me. Every time I see you, every time I get you, you are that name. You're all about love. BOWA Amor. and you mean a lot to our family. And what you see is what you get, and we love you. And I want to thank you for the opportunity of being able to interview you and taking your time out. To me, I mean, this is what I tell people, and I tell them all the time. Social media has separated everyone even more. Go out there when you see a speaker, someone like Orly, myself, even Serge that does seminar, Belinda, all these people. Go out and reach up to them. I mean, you'll be surprised. I'm not saying they're all good and they're all going to talk to you. Some egos are really big, but you never know if you never try. And, long story short, I was helping you take your first picture, and now we're great friends. And our families are friends. And I love her husband. He's my buddy. And that's who I hang out with in the cruise, though. If you want to hang out with me, you got to hang out with Alex, her husband.
All right.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. I love you.
Having me.
I love your family, and keep doing what you're doing. You're making a huge difference. And this is what it's all about.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Orly. Guys, I'll see you next week. My name is Bert Oliva. Remember to live life, don't let life live you, and keep making it happen. I'll see you next week.
Register online and join us today for all new speaker interviews and weekly topics only at mastermind.boa.tv.